Hi, everyone. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about slowing down. And it might seem like it's something a little bit radical and crazy in this culture that celebrates productivity, doing more, being more, achieving more, finding more clients, getting more followers, all of these sorts of things. And despite the fact that we see stuff like this on social media, we're still in such a busy world where we're so constantly connected and busy. So, somewhere along the way, we have sort of been taught that slowing down and rest is something that needs to be earned. And it's really just so the opposite of that. We've been conditioned to believe that wanting to slow down and do less is lazy, and it's not. And so today I really wanted to sort of debunk these myths and talk about the things that I do in my practice that can help us with these myths and realizing and embracing the slower restorative moments that our bodies are craving. These three practices that you see me talk a lot about are Reiki, restorative yoga, and meditation. Now, all of them have one thing in common, and that is the fact that they create space in your body for your nervous system to almost exhale, right? So today, the first thing we're going to start talking about is Reiki. What is Reiki? You see me talk about it all the time. Some of you know what it is. Some of you have been to me as a client. And there are others who don't understand it and don't know what it is and its benefits. So it seems a little strange and off-putting. So in a nutshell, the basics of Reiki are that it's a very gentle, hands-on, or hands near practice. The word itself comes from Japan, Rei meaning universal, and Ki meaning life force energy. Now, a lot of modalities and traditions and countries all have their own version of this. In Japanese culture, it's Rei meaning universal and Ki meaning life force energy. So it's based on the idea that there's a natural current of energy that moves through all living things. And when we're stressed, overwhelmed, grieving, or just constantly on, that natural flow can feel or become disrupted. Okay? And the beautiful thing about Reiki is it's not about fixing you. It's not about shaming you or guilting you into the fact that, maybe your body's broken or your spirit is broken or your mind, your emotions, they're all broken, and they're not. It's all about creating a condition and a space in your body for balance. Okay? We're not broken. So during a Reiki session, you would be fully clothed, lying down, very comfortable, nice and cozy, spa-like setting is how I would typically set it up. And then as the practitioner, I would place my hands in very specific positions on your body, lightly or just above, okay? And I don't create the Reiki energy. I am sort of like the channel, the director, the guide, okay? And what happens during these sessions is very subtle. It's not dramatic, it's not over the top, it's not necessarily felt right away by the person receiving the Reiki. Like I said, it's very subtle. Over time, because Reiki is not something like other modalities like massage or those sort of things where you feel the results right away. Reiki is something that is felt over time, where your nervous system begins to shift over time. And the more you experience and the more Reiki you receive, the more your body shifts away from that fight or flight and shifts into that rest and repair. Okay? And that rest and repair mode is where the healing happens. So there's no healing in pushing, there's no healing in striving. There's only healing in the softening and the acceptance of the receiving of the Reiki. Okay? Now, let's talk about restorative yoga. So, restorative yoga is such a beautiful, honorable practice where it's not really about stretching deeper or building strength like a lot of other yoga styles. So the idea about restorative yoga is support. Okay? So what happens in a restorative yoga class? You are given props, whether that's a bolster, blanket, blocks, straps, pillows, wedges, all sorts of different props are used in restorative yoga. And the idea is that they build this incredible foundation from the ground up to hold your body in very gentle shapes for several minutes at a time. So a little bit different than, say, your power yoga class, which has its own amazing benefits. Restorative yoga is about not letting your body do the work. Your body is being held. To me, I really like to describe it as sort of a gentle hug. Beautiful foundation built up to give you a hug, some love, some support. And when that body receives that signal where it feels physically supported, it sends a message to our brain where we realize that it's safe. It's safe to relax, it's safe to slow down, it's safe to stop, and it's safe to heal. Okay? Many of us don't really realize how much tension that we carry in our body until we actually stop moving. So restorative yoga is such a beautiful practice. It gives our body the time to unwind. Our fascia softens, our muscles soften, our joints soften, our breath deepens, our heart rate slows down. So restorative yoga is less about doing asana and more about being held by it. And finally, I want to talk a little bit about meditation, which is another practice that is near and dear to my soul, and much misconception behind meditation. So meditation is not about clearing your mind, first of all. It isn't about being good at sitting still. It's the practice of noticing your breath, noticing your thoughts, noticing your sensations, and noticing these things is what people actually think they're doing wrong, and they're not. There's no wrong way to do any of these things, but the idea at the end of the day is noticing the breath, the thoughts, the sensations, but not trying to control them and you'll hear this word a lot, attachment, during meditation practice. And basically, attachment is not allowing these emotions, these thoughts, these sensations, all of these concerns that we have to control us. Okay. That's a beautiful thing about meditation. Over time, this simple act of noticing and embracing without clinging to them and holding on to them is what changes your relationship to these stressors. You can begin to learn to respond instead of react. So enabling yourself to create that space between sort of the stimulus and the response, if that makes sense to you. You don't stop having thoughts. We're human. We are designed to function that way. And many people think that they have to turn their mind off. And that's just simply not how it works. You just stop being run or controlled by them. Now, here's the beautiful part. And this is why so many people say to me, you do so much. And it may appear that way, but these modalities all fit so beautifully together and come into like a cohesive, beautiful language. So Reiki, restorative yoga, and meditation all work together because they speak the same beautiful language, the language of our nervous system. Okay? They tell our body that it's safe. They tell us that we can soften. They tell us that we can rest. And as I said before, when the body gets these signals that it is safe, it moves towards healing. Okay? And another beautiful thing about this is it's not about age. It's not about strength. It's not about flexibility, experience. You don't have to be spiritual, religious. You don't have to understand the energy. And you don't even have to fully believe in it. You just have to be willing to pause long enough to see what happens. And I call this an asking from the soul. Okay? And not to put a mask on it or pretend that it doesn't exist or that it's not challenging, because it is. Stillness is so very uncomfortable for many of us. It's very strange. It's very foreign. Slowing down and being in that stillness is so uncomfortable when we start. But that's the sign that we need it most, okay? For many of us, slowing down brings us face to face with a lot of things that we've been avoiding, those thoughts, the anxiety of sitting still, the need and the desire to be constantly on the go and be achieving, right? But, and this is the most beautiful thing about it, is on the other side of that discomfort is clarity and regulation and such a beautiful, profound, deeper connection to yourself. And the other amazing thing about it is the truth behind it all is our body knows how to heal. Our body knows how to breathe. Our nervous system knows how to restore. We just need to be able to allow our body to sit in that stillness for these things to happen. Okay? These practices just simply create the space for that to occur. So, if you are still with me after all these minutes of my chatting, I want to tell you that if you feel tired, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel so disconnected, the answer isn't to run, to find more. The answer is to soften, to receive, and to allow. Now, as I said earlier, you don't have to change everything overnight. These things take time, okay? You just have to begin and allow the healing to meet you where you are, okay? Sometimes beginning just looks like lying down, closing your eyes, letting yourself feel supported. And remember, it's not weakness, it's wisdom. It's wisdom accepting that maybe we just need to slow down and be still. Okay, my friends. So I hope that I was able to answer some of the questions that I hear so often about what Reiki, restorative yoga, and meditation can really do for us. And I would really love to hear your thoughts about some of the things that I discussed with you today. And I wish you a beautiful remainder of your day. Bye now, friends.